Hello everyone, I am Renown Zero. We are back doing yet another comic book review, talking about the Bullet Assassin Living in a Fantasy World limited series, and then we are starting here with issue number 1, coming to us from Draw and Talk Comics. So written by Tyler Carpenter as well as artwork from Tyler Carpenter himself. And so we're going to get into this story. This is indeed a limited series. I believe there's only going to be 4 issues of this, but as you can obviously tell, the main character is very much stacked to the gills as far as being what we considered, I guess now, gooner bait, even though it's just literally beautiful women in skimpy outfits that people just love to read and see, because obviously comics are a visual medium. And what we have here is a pretty brilliant story. If you're looking for that more manga style type of drawing and artwork, then this is the book for you. Now, obviously, the storyline is that she was originally an assassin working for an individual. As you can see it down here, this is Bullet Assassin living in a fantasy world. Her name is Akiri, and she is a world-class assassin. So, obviously, they give you a little bit of a prequel to kind of what's going to happen later on in the book. And she works for this gentleman named David. So, David will build her up to be this world-class assassin, where she's taking out multiple targets. As you can see, she's taking out multiple targets: 1 target, 2 targets, 3 targets, 4, 5, and she finally goes to meet the man. Finally goes to meet David himself to tell him all about her targets that she's taken out, and she goes, of course, to get her next target. Well, she actually becomes the next target herself and gets taken out by David himself because he believes that she betrayed him. Now, she wakes up in this different fantasy world. Obviously, more booba. She's obviously naked because obviously when you pass away, it seems in this world that you end up being without clothes. So, ends up finding what is, an AR-15 here. Obviously, this weird creature sees her, and she stumbles upon, of course, a bunch of goblins taking control, or capturing, I should say, a family, a mother, a father, and a child. So, at first, she goes up over there, sees what's going on, doesn't really make it her business up until the point where she kind of overhears a conversation where they're eliminating or taking out the mother and father, as you can see right here through the comic. And as they're about to take out, of course, the child, she decides to come back and just absolutely obliterate the individual, the goblin, right there, as you can see, right through the dome. So, as she comes back for said child, and again, they don't really know where she is, because of course, assassins will be assassins, similar to a Hitman, if you will, or Agent 47 type character, if you will, if y'all know what the Hitman video game series is. Obviously, she, takes out that guy, and then she brings the child, of course, back to the village, where the child goes and meets with his grandmother. Obviously, new individual to the village, so they don't know anything about her. She just kind of stumbles upon it. They believe she is the ultimate key to saving them from the goblins in the end of the, probably at the end of the book series itself. But the main villain being Hook, and obviously the goblins have their own language. You can go ahead and kind of sort of read how they have a different language that's different from English. It's more of a broken English, as you would typically expect from goblins in this type of story and this type of writing style. But she obviously explains, the grandma explains to her about the terrible rule of Hook, and then she's like, no, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to do this. I just saved your boy from being deleted, and this is the thanks I get type deal. It's that typical, why did, trying to figure out why David betrayed her, and then, of course, she wants to seek revenge. Then obviously gets captured herself in this instance. She gets captured herself. She obviously has seen, notices that he said that the goblin here says a familiar line that she was told by her boss, David, before she was, deleted by her boss. And of course, She now sees it as her ultimate mission to obviously take out all these goblins, because she sees this as an opportunity to get rid of this version of her boss, David. And obviously she goes on this type of rampage and obviously just takes them all out with her AR-15. But in the middle of the fight, obviously, she's very limited on ammunition. It's a different type of world. And then, of course, she obviously uses the gun stock to take them out. And take out the rest of these goblins in this world. So she ends up returning to the village and now basically wants to join them and, proclaims herself, her name is Akari, the world's greatest assassin. And now she's going to proclaim herself to be the world's greatest goblin deleter. So, what do I think of this comic overall? I think it's a great starting point. We're introduced to the character, we're introduced to the world. I think the world building needed a slightly bit more time to cook. But then again, this is a limited series, and obviously I'll be jumping into reading part 2 or number 2 in soon enough, whenever I have time. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit into the world of Bullet Assassin living in a fantasy world created by, again, Tyler Carpenter, written by Tyler Carpenter, and drawn by Tyler Carpenter. You can get a feel for his writing style. I believe this is an excellent, book that you can easily get into if you're into this type of manga anime style. And it's very well, I think it's very well put together. The pages are very well put together. The artwork is pretty decent, pretty good. I enjoy the artwork because I like that more manga anime style type of book, and I always have. I've collected manga for quite a bit of time now, and I like this. I'm looking forward to reading number 2. Like, this makes me want to read issue number 2, and that's kind of the whole point of comics, of these issues, of these limited series, of these books that people create, especially in the indie space. They're more expensive to put out because they're not harbored down by distributors or publishers. People typically self-publish and self-distribute. So you want to be able to pull the person in. Obviously, the main character is obviously a selling point, and that's kind of the whole point, which is what kind of relates. It relates to this whole quote-unquote Goonergate thing, where they have these appealing characters that actually have substance to them, and they're not just their sex appeal. They are actual characters that care. Obviously, this person didn't care, but because I guess it's a child, she cared a little bit more for the character and returned them to their home. She obviously was disappointed that she wasn't getting the rewards she deserved after being the greatest assassin in her living world, and now in the fantasy world it's the same thing. But I feel like the second issue will dive more into the world, get more into other characters that are similar to Akari, and I think it's a pretty decent read. It's a $10 comic, I believe so. It's been a while since I've actually bought this. I do own number 2, so I will eventually get into reviewing issue number 2 as well. So if you are interested, of course, there is a website down here, drawandtalkcomics.com, where you can purchase these old stories, obviously at any time you want, physically or digitally. I own both, so it's just much easier for me to do this with a digital comic, and Tyler offers a free digital comic with your physical comic as well. So I thank you all for checking out the review, and will you be picking up Bullet Assassin Living in a Fantasy World number 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of this type of style of comic review? I can actually do these easier than having a physical book and setting up equipment and all that, and to do all that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. This will, of course, be a members only video first, and then will be available to the public within a couple of days. So I thank you all for checking out this video. Subscribe for more. Comment below if you feel about this. Like and share the video. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.